What's going on YouTube? West Hobbies RC here. Today I want to do a little comparison of the Blade 230S and the OMP Hobby infamous M2. I have seen a lot of questions on the forums and the Facebook pages on which helicopter should I get. I'm new to helicopters, I'm a beginner, and I want to get either the Blade 230S, V2, V3, or the OMP Hobby M2. Let me explain what I personally think on the two helicopters and what I think is better and the pros and cons to both helicopters. So we will first start with the Blade 230S. So the Blade 230 is a great helicopter. It is obviously bigger, much bigger than not much bigger, but a little bigger than the M2. It does fly great. It is a fun helicopter. It's taught a lot of people how to fly. It does fly surprisingly well. As you can see on my 230, I'm running the Align 230 millimeter carbon blades. They do fit. You do have to add shims in between the blade and the blade grip, but we do have a all plastic hub or main block, and blade grips, plastic swash plate, plastic links. We do have a plastic mainframe, does have metal gear, plastic case servos, aluminum tail boom, direct drive brushless 3-bladed tail motor, 3-bladed prop. We do have a plastic tail motor holding housing, plastic tail fin that's just nice and flexible, plastic skids, gear driven. I am running a Blade 300X motor in mine, and the Blade fiberglass 230 canopy option. I did buy this helicopter used, so the canopy is a little messed up. I need to order another canopy. So other than the Blade 300X motor, which does fit down in there, if you can see that, you just have to run the wires to the outside. I run multiple different packs. My normal connector on this is XT30, but I do have XT30 to Deans for some of my bigger packs. But I do run Deans as I do not like the JST plugs. But I'm running a 10-tooth pinion and a Blade 300X motor. Fits in there without any modifications. All you have to do is run your ESC wire and your battery wire out the sides instead of under it. Stock 230 speed controller. Everything else on the helicopter is completely stock. It flies good. It has much more power now than it did before. That was the one biggest complaint with the 230, is it was lacking serious power for any kind of 3D, really hard 3D maneuvers. Soft 3D, it was okay, but it did bog a lot. Now with the 300 motor, it does much better. It could still use more power, but you run into the problem of frame flex, and then you're just upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. For the price point, I think for a bind and fly and ready to fly helicopter, I think it is a great deal. Actually, my grandfather has really learned how to fly, and he has done great with the Blade 230S. Has the 636 fly barless unit, Spectrum 3050 servos. On the V2, which what this is, it has the bigger main gear, the different mainframe that has a thicker area here to stop them from cracking. Crash wise on the 230, it doesn't really crash good. It does, with the plastic mainframe, a decent crash will break the mainframe. The tail boom is super weak. It will break by looking at it. Blade grips. Usually every time I've crashed this helicopter, which has only been twice, I've had to replace mainframe, tail boom, both blade grips, main shaft, feathering shaft, main gear. But again, every crash is different. It all depends on how you crash. If you're quick at throttle hold, I have put this in pretty hard one time, tail in, and all it did was bend the boom. I bent it back. It's still not 100% straight, but it flies great. Fun helicopter for what it is. I don't fly it too much anymore if I want to practice anything. Like I'm practicing pirouetting flips right now, so I've been practicing it with this because if I dumb thumb it, it's not very expensive to fix. I keep trying to talk myself out of going with the carbon fiber mainframe, even though it could really benefit from it. But I just don't want to dump a bunch of money into a helicopter when I can buy another helicopter. So we'll set the 230 to the side for a second, and we will talk about the infamous OMP Hobby M2. OMP Hobby M2 is honestly one of, if not the best helicopter I have ever flown. I really, really love this helicopter. I love it so much I actually have a second one. Great helicopter. I did go for the OMP M2 Explorer. Little cheaper. I wanted the plastic blade grips, the plastic swash plate, and the plastic case servos. Cheaper parts to replace. I have yet to crash this helicopter, so I can't talk about crash cost. I have almost 100 flights on it with no crashes, which has been amazing. I've had a couple close calls, but no crashes. Super happy with the flight performance. We have a carbon fiber mainframe, nylon skids, which are nice and flexible. We have an inverted teardrop, just like the M1, aluminum tail boom, carbon tail skid, direct drive, brushless tail motor, as well as a massive Sunny Sky direct drive main motor. This thing has tons of power. It is incredible the amount of power this little helicopter has. Flight times in normal mode, I've gotten upwards of 8 minutes just cruising around, lazy flying. When I'm at 100% throttle, all out, I fly it for 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Normal timer is 4 minutes on idle up 1, which is about 75% throttle for just normal flying in 3D. The M2 does come out of the box with a fiberglass canopy, which I really like. Paint quality is great, super bright and visible. I have an orange one and a yellow one. Beautiful, beautiful canopy. Great job to OMP for that. We have a carbon fiber mainframe. We have aluminum upper and lower bearing blocks / servo holders. Like I said, direct drive, Sunny Sky, massive motor, which is just freaking powerful. OMP Hobby flybarless unit, ESC, they are separate and adjustable. The only thing I have done for the adjustments on this machine is just speed it up. All the gyro settings, everything is the way it came out of the box. It flies great. I am running a Spectrum DSMX satellite, as I do fly this on my Radiomasters TX16S as well, as the Blade 230 is being flown on my TX16S. But I like that the Spectrum satellite, I can set it up where I have control of pitch curves, throttle curves, and all that stuff, where with the OMP protocol, maybe you can do it. I just haven't figured out how. It's all fixed, and I didn't really like that. So maybe you can. If you can, please comment and let me know so I can figure it out, because if I can eliminate the Spectrum DSMX satellite, I would like to save a little bit of weight. Not too big of a deal. It does have a slide-in 3-cell 650 milliamp battery, which is, I love the slide-in mechanism. Locks the battery in place. Great. Don't have to worry about the battery coming off. We do have a carbon composite plastic blade grip, as well as the carbon composite plastic rotor head, or blades, sorry. We have aluminum canopy mounts, plastic anti-rotation bracket, as well as metal gear, just like the M1, but plastic case servos. Perfectly fine with me. I didn't need to spend the extra money just to have colored tail and all metal head and metal swash plate and metal case servos. The bling looks really nice, just didn't think it was worth it. I'm super happy with it as it is. Both helicopters are great compared between the Blade 230S and the OMP Hobby. They're both great helicopters. Which one's better? I can't really answer that. I can tell you my opinion on what's better. My opinion is the OMP Hobby M2 is definitely better. But it also depends on what you're trying to do. If you want a helicopter where out of the box you can just go fly, then you buy a ready-to-fly Blade 230S and you have a great time. If you want a helicopter that is, where you have to add a satellite or a Futaba S-Bus little receiver, or bind open protocol with your, OpenTX, the OMP Hobby M2 is definitely a choice. If I could only have one helicopter of these two, it would definitely be the M2. That is my preference. I think the M2 flies bigger, it flies better, it flies more stable. The flybarless unit is much better than the 636 in my opinion. I like the looks of the M1 more. I really hope OMP Hobby comes out with an M3, because if they do, it will replace my 230. I will sell it and no longer have a 230, and I would buy every helicopter OMP Hobby makes. I'm extremely pleased and happy with their brand, with their flight controller, with their power, the motors. I've had zero issues on neither of my M2s or my M1. Take them out, I fly them 6 to 8 flights at a time, easily, almost daily. I just throw pack after pack after pack, and all my helicopters usually. The 230 takes it as well. I fly 6 to 8 flights through the 230 at a time. It does great. I've never had overheating issues or anything like that. It's just a different kind of flying. You can tell there's slop in the head. You can tell it's not as precise. A lot of frame flex under hard movements. The OMP Hobby just takes it. That M2 will take whatever you can throw at it, but it can also fly extremely stable. You have a normal mode with self-level. You have both self-level and, idle up 1 and 2 on the 230S and the M2. Now, on my Radio Master TX16S, I do have rescue set up on this, which is to this back switch. I switched these two, SF and SH around. SH is now my 2 position, as this has always been throttle hold for me for years, for every helicopter. And now this is my momentary contact. So now this is my rescue switch, and I have rescue set up on the M2 and the Blade 230S. They both work identical on their rescue mode. I use it, play around. It saved me a couple times when learning new things. I think if you're only going to get one, you want something a little bigger, 100% go with the 230. If you don't mind it being a little smaller, then go with the M2. We'll set them side by side so you can kind of see an exact difference of them. Here's them nose into each other. The M2 is a little smaller. We'll set them side by side. Canopy, rotor head to rotor head. You can definitely see there's a little bit of a difference in length. The 230S is bigger than the M2, but I would recommend the M2 over the 230, and that's just my preference. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. Give the video a like and subscribe. Take care and have a great day.